Now, by the year 2050, the Southeast Asian region is projected to be the fourth largest economy in the world, and the youth is expected to play a huge role in economic development, especially if both the hard and soft skills will be developed. Now, to tell us more about the importance of training the youth to their full potential, we have in the studio John Robert Powers, International Vice President Chris Upton, and John Robert Powers, International Curriculum Director Maricel Pengson. Good morning.
Good
and
morning.
thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, that's wonderful news. By 2050,
yes,
we will be the fourth largest, Southeast Asia at least. So tell us more about that.
Yes, well, John Robert Powers is a company that's dedicated to helping people unleash their potential. We specialize in training and professional coaching, helping people to do presentation skills, speak in public, do all of the things that basically used to be called soft skills, but I think more and more in today's environment are fundamental skills. As you mentioned, by 2050, the ASEAN is about to be the fourth largest economy, and I think the potential there is to help young people by training them and coaching them and helping them to unlock the ability to kind of make that happen.
That's right. Well, as a company which has been in the region like for 30 years, what can you say about the economic potentials here in Southeast Asia?
Well, I think that, for example, the Philippines and Vietnam have among the highest percentage of young people in the region. And if you think about 2050, the people who are going to make that happen are here today. It's today's young people. And I think it's no longer about the number of people doing manual labor. It's much more about ideas and creativity and innovation. And in order to bring that out, people have to be coached and trained to do that to the best of their ability.
Okay, speaking of coaching and training, what are the skills? I know you mentioned a little bit, but what skills do you think that we as a Filipino nation or youth has or must be developed as well?
Well, JRP is really about, as Chris mentioned, unleashing potential. So we believe that personality should be developed in 4 general areas. Self-awareness, which is the most important, so that they understand who they are, why they are the way they are, so that they can be the persons they want to become. And then allowing this to express in the second, which is image. Image has always been a vital component of self-projection and self-presentation. And of course, beyond looking good, is being able to articulate. I think this is where the battlefield is right now, because most of our young people do not really know how to communicate confidently and comfortably anymore, especially when it comes to face-to-face interaction. Even in writing, most of our corporate accounts are on business writing for them to be able to express, because they have a lot of creative ideas. They are bursting all of their opinions, but to express this and articulate this, there seems to be a gap. And then finally, social skills, interaction. Like, we have a lot of young professionals who don't know how to do the small talk. So they meet with clients, and in the first initial encounter, they don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know what to say. So we are here for that. We want to be able to help our young people. And when we say young people, we start them really young. That's from 3 years old. Yes, we have a kids program, pre-teens, teens, because if you're a parent, you want to give your child every advantage. So starting them off young with skills building is also very important. Now, we are also creating programs that will address what we perceive as real needs today. Like, our young people need grit building. They need stamina.
How do you teach grit building? I mean, wouldn't it be like more or less inborn, or do we all have the grit?
Well,
I know in sports you need the grit.
Yes, you need the grit. Well, I think that's part of the thing that we found over and over again, is a lot of people feel that this is the kind of stuff that you're either born with or not. And the reality is, and we see it every day, is it's something that can be coached in people and trained in people. And it's so important for people to understand that it's something that exists in them, but they just need sometimes a little bit help to bring it out.
Because I know a lot of big companies, go to you and ask for help, and to help in terms of their employees, or how to be able to speak in public and dish out reports and all of these things. But you mentioned earlier about the youth, no? About having to start. I didn't know that we really have to start them young.
Yeah. Well, I always say that that an early start is a head start. So the sooner that kids can be encouraged to be engaged with the world outside and with adults and with people around them, I think it just becomes a habit, and then it becomes something that.
And I
can
guess
grow.
we also mentioned earlier, but with social media, that sometimes maybe you have lost a little bit of your, your social skills, your people skills, because
Communication skills.
you end up just, texting or whatever. Can
Right.
I have a date with you? It's never anymore. Hi, how are you? Would
Or
you
you,
like to go out
you
with
see
me?
social events where in a table, people are not talking to each other. They're texting away, and we've lost the art of conversation. And talking about the young children, they have a lot more to deal with. I think there's bullying, both face-to-face and especially online bullying. And this is where the grit comes in, that they should be able to bounce back from disappointment, because they're also the generation that has been exposed so much to the idea of achievement, that if you don't achieve, you are a nobody. So the efforts getting to that point are all set aside. So in our school, we tell them effort is very important, and that if you experience failure or disappointment, that there is resilience, there is bounce back to get yourself back on track.
And it's nice because not only that, but you also teach them their life skills, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And I read in one of your write-ups, it's not really about the specific talent that each person has, but it's really going deeper. Like, this is who I am. We all have our strengths and our weakness. It's up to you to actually bring it up.
Yes, there's not one way to do it. It's not a template or a cookie cutter thing. I think part of our approach is to really try and bring out the best in each person. And it happens, as I said, with training and with coaching, and we've seen so many amazing success stories of all ages, from kids to high-level executives. This kind of approach can really bring out the best in people.
Yes, and well, speaking of coaching, it seems to be like a millennial term. Everybody's into life coaching and corporate coaching. But JRP has been coaching since its inception in the 1920s. It has always been our methodology. So in coaching, really we talk to our clients about their needs and design the programs to meet those needs. And it's really experiential. We always say, when we welcome our prospective students, we always say, welcome to the JRP experience, because it's really all about immersion.
So 30 years, we're looking at this, 2050 being the fourth largest economy in the world. What are the key traits or the key skills, the soft skills that we must build for the next 30 years to help us get to that part? We have the technical skills where we're smart, we're creative, but what are the skills that we must start working on now?
Well, I think as we have been talking about, the ability to present, the ability to speak in public, these are things that people need. If you think about it, if you're trying to get investors on board with an idea, you need to be able to convince them. If you're trying to lead a team, you need to be able to rally that team. If you're trying to impress your bosses, I read an interesting article that a coder in Silicon Valley, can make it's a trendy job, and that coder can make about $40,000 to $60,000 a year. But a coder who knows how to present can make at least double that. So it's a tangible thing that can have a lot of repercussions in people's future.
And I think with AI starting to come into the picture, I think we're starting to lose a little bit more about our, interpersonal skills. So this would be an advantage that we must all possess. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
I think you are quite relevant in this day and age. Thank you so much for being with us today.
our
John
pleasure.
Robert Powers, International Vice President. Chris Upton, of course, a former swimmer, which I recently discovered, and John Robert Powers, International Curriculum Director. Maris Hilpexon with us this morning.